All right, coming up on the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, we talk a little bit about the quarterback competition and get you up to speed of what's going on. We talk a little bit about the running backs, and we have like a 22-minute segment with Tom Vanderford, so tune in for that. This is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, and thank you for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So do us a favor, subscribe to the YouTube channel, hit the bell for notifications every time we do a new video, which is fairly often, by the way. And, of course, upvote the video itself once we hit 1,000 by football season. If we do it, day before Labor Day, we hit 1,000. We're going to do a live post-game show. We're going to do post-game live along with an Ole Miss legend talking about Ole Miss football. Could be a lot of fun. Also, Tom Vanderford is going to join us from time to time on there as well. So we have him coming up later on the show. What's going on? So we're trying to build this out and have 4 or 5 people just kind of going back and forth talking about what's going on. About a half-hour show. So I'm pretty excited about that. So quarterback competition. Now, everybody at the quarterback competition assumed that Jaxson Dart was going to win the job just because he transferred to Ole Miss. That was his designation. And all of that went on. And if that sounds familiar to everybody, so be it. They thought it was a done deal. It was over. No need even doing it because this is the way it's always going to be. Well, that turned out to be incorrect. And the competition, as I described it over the last couple of months, as the way it could be the best possible competition, is coming to fruition. And that is having Luke Altmyer play the role of Drew Brees out there and be hyper efficient and know exactly what to do with the ball, protect the ball, and just kind of operate the offense and be very efficient doing that. Jaxson Dart uses gunslinger ability against him. The fact that he believes he can make every single throw and the ball can always get in there, use that against him. And that is how this competition could be heightened. Now, the winner of this competition, I say this, the winner of this competition makes Ole Miss a better team. Period. Doesn't matter if Luke Altmyer wins. It doesn't matter if Jaxson Dart wins. Whoever wins this job, Ole Miss is better for it. So do not root for either one. In this situation, root for Ole Miss. Root for a winner. Root for them to push each other. Root for them to fight and get over it and go and go and go and get better and better and better. And it's going to make Luke Altmyer pick up more of the offense and start looking like kind of a smooth operator down the field a little bit after this efficiency is built from the back, to Jaxson Dart coming back and taking control of the middle of the field and doing the things that he is really good at. He's a Gatorade National Player of the Year. He's not a bad player. Whoever wins this quarterback job, Ole Miss is better for. Period. Does not make Ole Miss worse for Luke Altmyer to win this job. Understand that. If you have that take, it's really no reason why I should listen to you, honestly. So, understand this quarterback competition is going exactly at the level it could be at to make it the best possible competition for Ole Miss sports fans. I'm really excited about it. This is the time of year I've pretty much given up on all my New Year's resolutions, but not this year. This year I'm sticking to my resolution to eat right thanks to Built Bar. It almost feels like it's not really a resolution because I actually enjoy eating them. Have you tried the Puffs? If you haven't, you're missing out on one of Built Bar's best tasting bars. Puffs are the first protein-infused marshmallow. They're fluffy, they're marshmallowy, they're not just a protein bar, they're a treat, and they're covered in 100% real chocolate. Mint brownie, coconut almond, and new for this month, white chocolate cookies and cream. They're all delicious, and new flavors are coming out all the time. If they think a flavor might be good, they'll make it, it'll be delicious, and it will be good for you. At Built Bar, they're all about the taste. They make it taste delicious first, then figure out how to make it healthy. And I don't know how they do it, but they pull it off every single time. So here's the offer. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, all one word, and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. All right, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. Do us a favor and rate us and review us on iTunes. Give us a 5-star review. You can say whatever you want to say. Just make sure it's a 5-star review. We would appreciate it. Yeah, that'll help others find the podcast down the road if they're searching for it. It'll put it up higher on the list. So, 5-star review. All right. First segment, we talked a little bit about the quarterback competition because that is the story that everybody cares about that's going to go on between now and fall. People are going to get tired of it, especially people that don't care about Ole Miss football, but Ole Miss football fans care about that topic more than anything else. You know what else they care about? The running back room. This might be the most talented running back room that Ole Miss has had during my lifetime. And as you can see by the gray hairs, I've been around for a minute or two. Now, Zach Evans, and he's unanimously, all the players are reaching out and they're saying, hey, this dude is the real deal. This guy is exactly what we hoped a running back would be. And I've told y'all over and over again, he has Adrian Peterson level talent. What does that mean? Doesn't necessarily mean he's stylistically like Adrian Peterson. Do not hear that. His ability to take over a game rivals Adrian Peterson in college. Not Georgia Southern Adrian Peterson either. Oklahoma Adrian Peterson. And this offense is also going to protect him and get him ready for the next level. Now, Lane Kiffin rode Derrick Henry to a national championship, giving 45, 47 carries a game. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Derrick Henry can handle it. I don't think they're going to do that with Zach Evans. I don't think we did that last year with Jared Ely and Snoop Connor and all of them. I don't think we're going to do that with Zach Evans, even though he is a level of talent that we have not seen. Ulysses Bentley IV, he's running, I think, third on the depth chart at the moment. I think eventually he will be the number 2 guy. Although he might, I told you about this a couple weeks ago, he might be the Snoop Connor on the team to come in against the tired defense and take advantage of them. And Quinshon Judkins could be the second one, could be the Henry Parrish of this backfield. I know the comparisons don't really work, they don't really match up, but that could actually happen. Blackwell, running back coach, I think that's his name. But Blackwell, running back coach, his substitution patterns might be completely different. Remember, position coaches generally handle substitutions. They might be told on Thursday, I want this running back to get 60% of the snaps, this one to get 30%, this one to get 10%, or something like that. But then it's up to them to divvy it out. So that happens there, that happens at running back room, that happens on the offensive line. The position coach handles the substitution. The head coach isn't sitting there worried about, okay, we need this player in, we need this player in. Doesn't work that way. They don't really know what's going on. In fact, if I had a nickel for every time whenever I was the video coordinator at Ole Miss, Coach O watched the video and said, why is this player doing it? What is this player doing in right now on film after the game? I would be a fairly wealthy man because it happened literally every game. Literally. So it could be a lot of fun. But that's the two things that I wanted to talk about. I want to talk a little bit about the quarterback controversy or competition, and I wanted to talk about the running back room, especially Zach Evans, who is having a phenomenal spring so far through 8 practices. And if he can keep that up, his ceiling is unbelievably high moving into the fall. So I want to tell you right now about BetOnline.net. BetOnline.net is your number one source for all your betting needs and sports information. Find all the latest sports developments, including this week's Masters Championships odd, podcast, and reviews for all the different leagues this season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sports wagering information, including live betting, esports, and scores. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. And I do want to apologize about a little bit about the noise that's going on in the background. Again, I told you there was a plumbing mishap, and they are working and got machines going all over the house to try and dry me out. But I wanted to do a show for you anyway, and I'm wearing my Expos hat in honor of yesterday's opening day. 94 Expos should have been World Series champions. Major League Baseball took that away from them. That team was fantastic. Anyway, let's take a short ad break, and then we'll come back with Tom Vanderford. All right, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. Tom Vanderford joining us for his weekly perspective segment like he always does. We're kind of talking, we started off air, we were talking about Ashanti Seastrunk, who got some reps apparently Saturday because Troy Brown didn't play. And he kind of showed out apparently, didn't he?
Yeah, he sure did. His proud dad sent me some footage of multiple tackles for loss. He had a really good day, and that's one thing that I think people forget is the depth that we have at linebacker this year, especially with only 2 linebackers. And those guys are going to be able to stay fresh. They're going to be able to stay healthy. The larger linebackers like Ashanti and Mack and maybe even Austin Keys, when they go to a 4-down look, you can put the guy, at end. There's all kinds of stuff you can do if you have that depth. And we have not had the quality depth for, like you said, basically 2015. Mm-hmm. And that's no knock on anybody. That's just factual. We just really haven't had the kind of depth that we're going to have this year. And when I hear other people on the football team and other people that see why I'm so interested in going to spring practice, I want to see Zach Evans. Mm-hmm. Everything I hear is this guy is the real deal. Read an article today where he said the main reason he came to Ole Miss is Kiffin told him, I can get you ready for the NFL. And then that gets back to that pro mindset, right? Mm-hmm. But everything I hear is this guy is amazing.
Yeah,
so
I told you, he was Adrian Peterson level talent when he transferred. And this is potentially the biggest recruit signing that Ole Miss has ever had. Now, it doesn't mean he's going to perform, but on paper, potential, it's all there.
Yeah. Yeah, and when you look at our retooled, shuffled offensive line, we've got some road graders in there. So we're going to be able to run. We're going to be able to run the ball, and that's going to take a lot of pressure off of whoever our quarterback is. Mm-hmm. And when you've got a target like Trigg, who I just hear this guy is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I hear he's got first-round talent written all over him. One guy told me, he said, imagine Evan Ingram with better hands and about 30 pounds heavier. And he said, that's this guy.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
you just described Rufus French.
Yes, exactly. Rufus French. If he wouldn't have got injured, he would have played on Sundays for a long time. Mm. Yeah, exactly. And we've got a weapon like that. We've got weapons like Braylon Brown, and we could go on and on with all the receivers. We got Quay Davis caught. I got to give a shout out to Quay. Quay's from Biggersville, which is in the county, Alcorn County, where I'm from. Quay Davis caught, I think it was a 54-yard touchdown sack in the scrimmage. So you've just got all these supporting actors that are really going to help when we get this tempo going. Mm-hmm. And we've got all these folks on defense that if the other team's playing tempo, hey, we can actually do some subbing.
Yeah.
We didn't do a lot of subbing on defense last year. Well, we really didn't. And I think we've got enough SEC level talent where we can do that this year.
Yeah, they can do shift changes basically.
Exactly.
In between series.
Yeah.
Exactly. All of that will keep plays down, and you're not going to have players that just like are sucking wind on a 10-play drive or whatever. It's exactly. All positive. The funny thing is, now, we talked about on Twitter all the negativity that are around certain sports. We did that with Kara yesterday and how that affects things. And I explained yesterday that negativity is somebody that's eventually going to be proven right because that's the nature of sports. It's going to happen. That's the reason they do it.
Right.
And those negative people that are doing that, they aren't talking about football, even though spring practice is going on, because there's so many good things to say. There's nothing there. They don't want to badmouth it before it starts. So luckily there's an easy target out on the baseball field or Kermit or whatever to keep it going. But right now, if you can't be excited about this football program moving forward this year, the potential of it, you can't be excited of any team, I don't think.
No, I completely agree. And, you talking about the baseball team. I was talking to, she's a diehard Mississippi State grad and homer today. And she's like, dude, you guys are so much better than us. And I'm like, we really are. I mean, it's baseball. You're not going to win every game. We've got a good team, and we've got time to gel. We've got time to iron out the wrinkles, the pitching. I think Graham not being there is huge, and we'll just, it's college baseball is a marathon, not a sprint. But,
what would this team look like if they didn't play Tennessee the second week of the SEC slate?
They would still be ranked in the top 3 or 4 in the country.
Yeah, let's say at that point you got Missouri or somebody like that.
Yeah, exactly. It would be totally different. And listen, Tennessee is going to whoop everybody's tail. They're unbelievable.
Yeah, they're 2 SEC wins away. If they win 2 this weekend, they tied the best start in SEC history. Think of all the good teams out there.
They got good bats. They hit home runs constantly. I don't think there's a pitcher on their staff that throws under 90 miles an hour. It's just it's a buzzsaw. But getting back to football though, it is going to be interesting to see how this all plays out as far as the quarterback competition.
Yes, definitely.
I am so, if you just listen to the press conferences, listen to the podcast, listen to the people talk, listen to your sources, it's exactly at this point what we thought it was. Altmyer is the calm, cool, collected, doesn't make mistakes, kind of like the Barker, the Alabama quarterback years ago. He's going to be a good field general. He's going to, limit his mistakes, this, that, and the other. And then from what I can tell from everybody talk, Dart is a whole lot like Corral in respect. He's a gunslinger, not afraid to take a chance.
2019
he makes great
Corral.
Plays. Pardon?
2019 Corral, not 2021 Corral.
Yeah. 2019 Corral, exactly. You're right. You're right. 2020 Corral when he started, and that's a very good point you make. 2020 Corral had a couple of bad games, but he was under the tutelage of Lane Kiffin, who kept working with him. And then 2022 Corral was anything but an interception machine, right? So I'm hoping that by the end of fall practice, we've got 2 really good choices to go to. We've got a guy that's a little bit closer to the Matt Corral of 2022, or at least of 2021, and a really good field general, and let's just see who wins.
Yeah, I describe them all the time because whenever you do player comps, it's a guide. It's not a literal thing. But Jaxson Dart is the Brett Favre of the group, and Luke Altmyer is the Drew Brees. And
I completely agree with those analogies.
That is where the competition is right now. These are 2 different quarterbacks playing within the Lane Kiffin offense, but the offense is going to look different whoever wins this. But the one way that you beat a gunslinger like Brett Favre is to be very machine-like, like a Drew Brees, and just extremely efficient. And so far, from everything I've heard, that's kind of what Luke has done.
Yep. That's the same thing I've heard too. You know, he, Dart throws a big pass in the scrimmage, and Altmyer turns around, throws one. I mean, it is a competition. For those people that thought this was Dart's job from day one, I would have to disagree. From what I've heard, this is competition's wide open. And one thing we know, that Lane Kiffin does not like turnovers.
No, not even a little bit.
So I think, and he mentioned that in his press conference that
Yeah, I caught that.
So yeah, so I mean, I think we all know Lane. He's been our coach long enough that we know he telegraphs the truth. He doesn't sugarcoat it. He doesn't try to skirt the issue. He'll just tell you, hey, look, guys throwing picks, man, and those aren't cool. So, but I do think we've got time for both of them to get so much better between now and the end of fall camp. And you look at those first 2 games; those are good. I hope it doesn't come back to bite me in the rear end, because I'm thinking Jacksonville State, right? But I don't. That was a different time. But our first 2 games are Troy and Central Arkansas, so those should be really good tune-up games, right?
Honestly, if you look at the schedule, the first 4 games are good tune-up.
Oh yeah, games. Yeah. At Georgia Tech, we should handily win that. Then we come back and we play Tulsa. Tulsa's a good, they're a good group of 5 bowl team, but they should no way in the world be anything like an SEC team, so that, and then to be completely honest with you, the 5th game's Kentucky, I think, right?
Yeah, that's the day that we embarrass ourselves. And by us, I mean the fans, because we're going to attempt to stripe out. And I just don't picture Ole Miss fans ever being able to pull that off.
Dude, we can't even pull out everybody wear white or everybody wear red. I mean, I've even got people in my group that are like, I've been coming to Ole Miss games for 30 years. I'm going to wear what I want to when I want to. Nobody's going to tell me to wear. I know one guy that whatever color they say wear, like I think the first game's wear white, dude's going to wear whatever he wants to, and it's not going to be white.
Yeah,
there are just some people like that.
Yeah, it can't sound like he did what was told. And
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Goodness. But I'm telling you, that Kentucky game, I really think that both of our teams, us and Kentucky, will be 4-0 when we play in Oxford. So that'll be a fun game to watch.
Yeah. And then after that's Vanderbilt, and then after that is Auburn. So there's a chance at 7-0. Legitimate.
There is
a legitimate
very good
chance. At
a
7-0.
legitimate chance at 7-0. You are correct.
Yeah, and then we go to Baton Rouge. We
always
I think
we always play good Baton Rouge most of the time.
Then Texas A&M, Alabama, Arkansas, Mississippi State.
Yep.
So that second half is no joke. Well,
it isn't. We have a backloaded schedule. That's true.
Yeah. But this is the team to have a backloaded schedule with.
I agree. It is. That's perfect for us because we're going to have time to mature. We're going to have time for the guys to get reps, get more comfortable playing with each other, both on the offensive and the defensive side of the ball. And I think it's a wonderful schedule for what we have with all these transfers and new faces and all. It's perfect. It gives us a chance to ramp up each game and get a little bit better, work out the kinks, get the depth chart right, and before we hit that murderer's row of mid-October to the end of November, it's going to be a booger bear.
Yeah,
but I'll be honest
road games to Baton Rouge and road games back to back to them and Texas A&M. That's going to be a fun part of the schedule, and it's probably going to tell the tale moving forward.
I completely agree. And, I may have red and blue glasses on, but I think that we'll compete just fine against both of those squads.
Usually do.
I really do.
And we have. And remember, everybody needs to remember about this Ole Miss team. In high school, with all the transfers that came in, this is how Lane Kiffin has completely retooled this roster. There's 32 or 33 high school 4-stars out of our 85 scholarship players.
Yeah, never had anything like that before.
Yeah, last year we were 16 or 17. We were good for like 6th or 7th in the New Year's Six bowls or something like that. It was high, fairly high. It was SEC level, but this is almost double of that. And that's the reason I call this the most talented team in my lifetime. But I also tell people it's one thing to be talented, it's quite another to be good. And
exactly. And that talent might not translate into 10 regular season wins this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, our expectations have to be tempered. To have a 10 to 12 regular season win for a team like Ole Miss, you've got to have the ball bounce your way a lot.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, if everything goes right, let's just say everything goes right, you get to LSU, and they don't have a quarterback situation, so that game's a little bit easier than you imagine. Brian Kelly's a good coach; he's going to have that turnaround. You then play Texas A&M, and they couldn't figure out their quarterback situation, end up losing that game, and then you play Alabama. You could go into that Alabama game undefeated. That game is perfectly positioned, and I guarantee you that the SEC did this, to where that's the doubleheader weekend. Ole Miss and Alabama on CBS, first part of November. They're setting that up because they're not going to go to LSU, and they're not going to put the Texas A&M game on because just the way it is. But that Ole Miss game, that looks like it could be the 7 o'clock CBS game. And that game right there is essentially would be for the West. There's nothing special's happened. I've described 2 situations that happens every year at those 2 schools. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that it could happen this year. But Ole Miss could go into the Alabama game essentially playing for the Western Division. And that is territory that Ole Miss has not been in.
Definitely not that late in the year.
Mm-hmm.
This is just me, but I think we've got a better chance at beating Alabama than we do beating Arkansas.
Yeah, I actually agree with that.
Fayetteville, and I have watched every good coach of my lifetime go to Fayetteville and get skull drugged. Not all the time by a better team either. Just there's something about Fayetteville. I don't know what it is.
In Fayetteville, I witnessed Arkansas score a touchdown on one of our kickoff returns.
Yeah.
Just weird things happen up in Fayetteville.
Yeah.
We get us in Little Rock.
They do.
Get us in Little Rock, we can take it all day. All day long.
Great in Little Rock.
Yeah. Fayetteville, it's just a different story. But if you go into if you go into it and then if you upset Alabama, the reason this would be important is all of a sudden the tiebreaker, because of it, Arkansas doesn't matter. Just win the state game and you're going to Atlanta.
Exactly. And I my state buddies that I work with, they'll even tell you, dude, you guys are just different than us now. Mm-hmm. They keep wanting the offense to click. And I think it'll be better this year. I think their offense will be better. But it depends for them on – they lost a first-round draft pick, a left tackle. And you just don't replace those guys, You just don't. We didn't replace Michael Orr. It took a while, and then we had Tunsil. And then, right after Tunsil, we did have Little. And that was something else, but you just don't normally do that. So, and that offense is so predicated on pass protection. It just, I think we can, what I'm saying is I think that we can make it 3 in a row real easy this year. I really do. The one thing I love about there's many things I love about Lane Kiffin, but one thing that I do love about Kiffin is he doesn't ever let them have a letdown. He's all about the pro mindset. You know, it's this week and this week only. We win, that's great. We won this week. Let's prepare for next week. It's a business acumen that they have.
The difference between him and Hugh Freeze, because both of them had the same mindset that they do publicly, and it's all about us. We're just going to look up at the scoreboard at the end. We're going to play hard. We're going to see if we win the game. But with Hugh Freeze, that wasn't true. He was too emotional of a guy. So you could tell how up he was when LSU was in play. The Alabama game meant so much. The state game meant so much. And the players would eventually, they'd see through what was happening, and Ole Miss teams would go up and down because they're taking their cue from the head coach. Lane Kiffin doesn't do that. He's such an introvert, and his personality is so strange. It's hard to get a read on the guy.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible. You just have to take the words that come out of his mouth at 100% and don't try to read him, because he's not that guy. He's not that guy.
Yeah, if you try to make it a code and try and break that code, you're going to end up looking foolish.
Exactly.
Anyway, thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. Tune in tomorrow with our post-game pod. Hopefully Ole Miss can take 2 or 3 this weekend to try and get back on course. Kevin Graham is supposed to be back, according to David Kellum in the broadcast on Wednesday. So now make your second listen Locked On NFL Draft. Ryan Tracy, NFL cornerback, Eric Crocker bring the NFL Draft to life every day with insight and analysis on college football prospects and NFL front offices. With the draft coming up in a couple of weeks, it's super important. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast. Tom, thank you very much. I always look forward to this. You know, anytime you can just sit here and just talk about Ole Miss football with somebody, it's a pretty good day, man.
It is. It's awesome. I look forward to it every day.
All right.
Every Thursday.
Yeah, it is really great. And as we get closer to the spring game, which is 2 weeks from, tomorrow, because this is airing on Friday. It gets going, and then we hit the off-season stuff. And just to let you know, Tom, like part of what I would do, I'm going to start in June and May and start doing previews of the opponents on the schedule to get us through that 2-month period where nothing's going on, and then we can just start getting ready for football and start talking about quarterback competition, having a lot of fun once it's going. But yeah, we'll see how it is, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate it.
All right, you have a good one, bud.
You too, bud. Hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy.